Alright, so we'll take you guys for a ride in Alex's Freightliner. I have only drove this a couple of times. I have not driven this with a trailer hook to it. And we'll get into that here in a minute. Alright, so we are on our way. Like I said, I have not driven this truck with a trailer hook to it. It was 2 weeks ago today. My father set off with the first load of wheat on this Aulick trailer and the Peterbilt road tractor. The Peterbilt laid down on the side of the road. Alex had this in the shop. We were repairing a radiator hose for her, and we ended up taking this over, pulled the Peterbilt out of the way. If you haven't seen that video, you'll have to go back a couple to watch that. So we put this on the trailer, and it's been hauling wheat ever since. Now, Alex didn't get a chance to take a load with the Aulick trailer. She was running the other trucks, and my father, he more or less fell in love with this truck. He made it a point that he wanted to run it, and we just kind of loaded it accordingly to where he was in the trucking lineup. So the last time I drove this, like I was saying, was on my way over to switch this with the Peterbilt. The Peterbilt is done, by the way, and what they had to replace was the XY shifter. The XY shifter is the mechanism that's on top of the transmission that acts as your shifter handle. And that was sloppy and out of whack. There is like a crush ring in the regular shifter handle on a manual shifted transmission. And it must have had something similar going on with that XY shifter as what your crush ring is like in the handle shifter. So I wanted them to get a real good look at the transmission, and I had them take the transmission out. I said, take the transmission out, pull that top cover off, look it all over. And I said, take a real good look at the clutch. We have no history on when that clutch was replaced, and the clutch could be slightly wore anyway. So they ended up removing the transmission. They checked everything out. They said the transmission looks good. They replaced the XY shifter, and they put a new clutch in it. They said the clutch was in decent shape, but for what a clutch costs, you go through a lot of labor of getting the transmission out. And we always, if we have a transmission that has failed, we always replace the clutch. If we have a clutch that has failed, we kind of like to go through the transmission too and just swap it out. Just swap it out of there. So it's going to take us a little bit of a while here to get over to Mayberry's, and we'll just kind of take you guys along. Alex, she could take this load over, but her and Sarah are chisel plowing right now, and she is quite a ways away from here. She's almost 30 miles away from us. So we're going to take this load, and we'll get the combine out of the field in the morning. At least this way I haven't got to worry about getting all itchy tonight blowing the combine off. But I do want to get all that schmuck off of the combine. It is dirty from being in the wheat. You run into some mold and whatever that's in the wheat, and it's a lot of dust, and it ends up sticking to the combine and makes for a dirty machine. So we'll join up with you guys a little further along in the trip here. Well, we've traveled some 10 miles already. We're only a few miles away from home, but where we started from was on the other side of town. So we're pulling a pretty decent hill here. We don't have a full load on, but Seems to handle things quite well. It's kind of nice not to have to run a shifter. Instead of holding the shifter in my hand, I can hold the camera. So we've got maybe a half hour, 45 minutes or so, and then we will be there. We shifted a couple of times. We're in gear number 7. This is a 13-speed transmission, and no complaints. So we'll keep on it here. We are now rolling through the village of Skaneateles. Skaneateles Lake is up on our left-hand side here. You'll see that in a minute. And this weekend, every year, they have the boat show going on. And usually this is about the time that we're starting wheat, or we're, you know, maybe a third of the way through or so. And usually the way the weather is when we're doing wheat, there's usually the potential for some pretty good, you know, rainstorms and whatever. And it's about every other year we get a real big storm, and it involves a lot of wind and everything else, and these old antique boats end up on top of each other. We'll see them here in a minute. This light is taking awful long. We've got some people up on the grass here right alongside the lake. We've got yeah, a light and a lot of traffic. It's 5 o'clock at night here, so it's taking me a little longer to get through this town here than it normally does. Usually we can just scoot on through, but at least we haven't. Oh, there's Jeffrey. Yeah, he must be coming back from Rochester. So yeah, usually we can get through this town quickly, but yeah, there's the lake there. It is like glass out there. Everybody's sitting on the shoreline. So we'll be going by the boats here in a second. I don't want to bore you guys, but yeah. All right. Alright, getting through here. Alright, so the boats are up here on our left, providing I don't hit the frickin' red light here, which I probably should stop right here because they're waiting for the frickin' crosswalks here. I don't know what you want me to do here, bud. Yeah, they're waiting for the crosswalks, and if you stop when the light is green in the intersection, you can actually get a ticket. And I'm actually just in beyond that intersection. Yeah. So here are the antique boats. On our left side, I guess there's not too many of them there, but there's a few. Got festivities going on here. Alrighty. A little confusion with that one car back at that intersection, but they yielded for me. What are you gonna do? Oh well. At least I didn't get flipped off, but you know, a situation like that, you'd like to say to the person, hey, I'm sorry, because I screwed that up for her. And yeah, it is what it is. So, yeah. All right. So we are just a couple miles away. That cow out in the water there getting cooled off. Yeah, so we're just a couple miles away. We'll be there in a short little bit of a minute. And looks like they got some new pavement down. This is Yellow Tavern Road. And yeah, we're just a short couple miles away. Beans look pretty good out this way. Alright, so this is Mayberry Farms here. We've been coming here for I don't know how many years. So we'll get situated and we'll get this offloaded. See if I can get in here in one piece without screwing anything up. We maintain not going in that ditch. Old 9380. We swing around the buildings here and then we'll pull on the scale and then we offload, and we'll touch base with you guys in a little while. Load for the year is dumped, and we're gonna go ahead and walk on out of here, get it back to the farm, and that'll be it for wheat for 2024. Alright folks, we'll catch up with you in a little while here. Well, we have pulled out of Mayberry's and we are now making our way back home. Now, for those of you that have frequented the New York Farm Days in New York State, this is going back a few years, but this is where it used to be. This location up on our right hand side here, from starting at this point here and going forward. This is the lot farm, and that is where the New York Farm Days used to be held, right there off to our right hand side. Some of the buildings and structures that went to the farm show or farm days are still there. These other buildings that are here are part of the lot farm. But there is some buildings still out there. And then there's one house here. And then beyond this house is where they used to have the auctions. So they ran a lot of parking in behind here. And now they have since moved the farm days now quite a ways east of where we are actually from. This is where they used to have the auction. Nice flat ground out here, but this year they have canceled the farm days where they're holding it at its new location. I think this year would have been like the 3rd year or the 4th year. But it's kind of sad, but it is what it is. So we'll make our trip on home here, and that's gonna do it for this video. I want to thank everybody for watching, and we'll catch you at the next one. Take it easy, folks.